Wyln TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is Wyln News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. Wyln News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Wyln News. I'm Julia Wiegand. One man was sent to the hospital following an early morning fire in Luzerne County. Crews were called just after 1 this morning to North Church Street in Hazelton Township and found heavy smoke and fire coming from an apartment that sits above Murado's music store. One resident of the apartment was taken to the hospital for breathing in too much smoke, but is expected to be okay. The second-floor apartment suffered fire damage, while Murado's suffered both smoke and water damage. Firefighters believe the blaze began in the kitchen and grew out of hand, but there's still no official word as to what caused that early morning fire in Hazelton Township. A federal civil lawsuit was filed Monday against the Tamaqua Area School District. The families of 2 Tamaqua area football players who were alleged victims of a November hazing incident filed the suit, claiming the district failed to protect their children and took no action after an alleged sexual assault occurred. Attorneys for the family say the assaults were premeditated and that the district tried to cover up the incident. The victims were allegedly pushed to the ground and sexually assaulted with an object in the team's field house back on November 4th. 3 students were expelled for their roles in the assault. One student was identified as 18-year-old Zachary McGlinchey, who was charged on March 28th with simple assault and harassment. The lawsuit also claims that even after receiving reports about 3 separate incidents of attempted assault, Tamaqua area officials took no action to properly investigate. The plaintiffs are demanding an undetermined amount and asking for a trial by jury. A new Luzerne County manager is expected to be voted in at tonight's meeting. Randy Robertson will need 7 votes in order to be named the county's next full-time manager. Council will then approve his salary, but he will not receive a contract. Council Chairwoman Kendra Rattle said Robertson agreed to a compensation package at last night's executive session. He'll become the 3rd full-time manager since the county adopted its home rule government. The 67-year-old is a Kentucky native and has served as manager of 6 cities across the country from 2006 to 2021. He's currently on assignment in Colorado and is expected to take over the manager's position sometime in June if appointed by council. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 at the county courthouse on North River Street. Residents can attend in person or online by visiting LuzerneCounty.org. The names of 2 people killed in a Sunday night crash in Kingston have been released. According to police, 25-year-old Austin Heck of Plymouth and 27-year-old James Wheeler of Nanticoke were pulling out of an ice cream shop on Wyoming Avenue when they were struck by a Jeep. The 2 victims died at the scene, and the driver of the Jeep was taken to an area hospital for treatment of traumatic injuries. The crash is still under investigation, as police determine whether speed played a factor in the fatal accident. A Luzerne County man was taken into custody during a burglary investigation in Hazelton. Officers were investigating 2 burglaries that took place at the Unimart at 265 South Church Street back on March 19th and 27th. On both occasions, a Hispanic male wearing a black baseball cap was observed breaking into the businesses and stealing numerous items that included cigarettes, cigars, and rolling papers. During surveillance, an officer spotted the suspect, identified as Angel Reynoso Soto, attempting to commit a 3rd burglary at the same business. He was taken into custody without incident and charged with burglary and criminal trespass. A wanted woman was arrested during a traffic stop in Butler Township. A vehicle being driven by 34-year-old Maria Folkert of Glen Lyon was pulled over early Monday morning on South Hunter Highway. Officers discovered that she's been wanted by the Luzerne County Sheriff's Department since 2014 for failure to appear in court. She was also charged with DUI and taken to Luzerne County Prison. A New York man pled guilty to having unlawful contact with a minor yesterday in Luzerne County Court. 36-year-old Eric Ryan Gonzalez, who calls himself dirty old man, was arrested by Kingston police for allegedly trying to have a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old boy, who turned out to be an undercover officer. He was taken into custody when he made plans to come from New York to meet the boy. Luzerne County Judge Joseph Sklarowski ordered that Gonzalez be evaluated by the state's Sexual Offender Assessment Board before he's sentenced in August. A planned vote regarding the $2.1 million sale of the former Myers High School building was tabled. The Wilkes-Barre Area School Board tabled the vote Monday night, citing an email received during the meeting with a higher offer. The motion for Myers was to sell the building to John Basaliga, who has previously bought and repurposed other large properties in the region, including the Steamtown Mall in Scranton. Once the new offer was made, the board tabled the sale to give the district some time to review the new offer. A Nanticoke man was arrested after police say he traded and sold ATVs and quads that didn't belong to him. West Pittston Borough Police received word Friday regarding a quad theft. Upon further investigation, it was revealed that George Shotwell III, who ran an ATV repair service, took one of the quads and traded it for a stolen ATV without the owner's permission. He then allegedly took another and sold it without notifying the owner. Shotwell was arrested at his home Sunday on 2 felony counts of theft by unlawful taking and 1 felony count of theft by deception. A Carbon County man was spared state prison after the judge gave him credit for time spent in an inpatient rehab center. 45-year-old Christopher Ohl was sentenced in a bomb threat incident at the county courthouse back in October of 2020, which caused the evacuation of the courthouse and surrounding buildings. Jason Bracero of Jim Thorpe, who was arrested alongside Ohl, pled guilty to allegedly using Ohl's cell phone to make the threat and was sentenced 18 to 60 months in state prison on a felony terroristic threats charge. Ohl entered the Salvation Army long-term drug treatment inpatient program for 197 days, decided to work for them, and now lives at a home run by the organization in Harrisburg. He was ordered to get a drug and alcohol evaluation and follow any recommendation for treatment and pay thousands in court costs and restitution. Coming up on Wyln News, concerns over the possible ending to free school meals, plus more on Trump's latest Republican endorsement. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the Wyln Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
My name is Gio, and I'm 3 years old. The weather is going to be tomorrow rainy, so get your umbrella. Bye.
We want your child to be our Wyln Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on Wyln News and Wyln social media posts, just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the Wyln News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today.
If you're looking for an affordable pre-owned car or truck, Jura's Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, dependable, and quality vehicles. Stop in 610 North Broad Street, West Hazelton, 570-454-7229.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazelton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced, courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazelton.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the midday WYLN News update, posted between noon and 2 p.m. Tomorrow's care starts today with Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazelton, your ER partner.
A federal waiver allowing all Pennsylvania K-12 students access to free school breakfast and lunch could be coming to an end. Students have been able to receive the free meals regardless of their family's income level since the start of the pandemic, but Congress has yet to take action on a waiver extension. A group of U.S. senators proposed a bill dubbed the Support Kids Not Red Tape Act in late March that would extend the waiver from June 30th of this year to September 30th, 2023. School districts also received a higher rate of reimbursement from the federal government. The rate was already 15% higher than the standard reimbursement for a free lunch at the start of the 2021-22 school year, but schools are receiving 22% more than they normally would due to higher food costs and other circumstances. One lucky winning Powerball ticket worth $100,000 was sold Monday at a Luzerne County grocery store. The winning ticket was sold at a price chopper in Edwardsville, where it matched 4 of the 5 white balls drawn and the red Powerball 4 to win $100,000. If the Power Play multiplier hadn't been drawn at 2, the ticket would have been worth $50,000. According to the Pennsylvania Lottery, the Powerball went up to an estimated profit value of $302 million, or $187 million in cash, for tomorrow's drawing. Former President Donald Trump endorsed Dr. Mahmet Oz for U.S. Senate just before May's Republican primary. In a statement, Trump noted how Dr. Oz has strength in fighting crime and border security, while acknowledging his medical and academic backgrounds. Many Republican candidates have been trying to get a grab at Trump's support, but some are questioning his decision to pick someone who's been criticized for not being conservative enough in the past. Trump endorsed Sean Parnell for the seat at the start of the race, who dropped out after physical abuse allegations. The Pennsylvania primary election is set for May 17th. Bloomsburg University held an early Easter egg hunt in the Care Student Union building in honor of Sibs and Kids Weekend. The dinosaur-themed egg hunt was sectioned into different start times so that kids of all ages and college students could join in on the fun. The event also featured a carnival room full of games and activities for everyone to enjoy. Coming up on Claire's News Choice, we talk driving at night on this Trooper Talk Tuesday, plus Leading the Way, Part 2. And stay with us for everything else we have lined up for you later tonight on WYLN TV.
Abby is still perfecting her sidekick, and her jab is just for show. But for Abby, this is a remarkable day, because Abby recently defeated a real foe, cancer, when she partnered with Lehigh Valley Riley Children's Hospital, a children's hospital close to home with more than 30 pediatric specialties. Take a bow, Abby. You deserve it. Lehigh Valley Riley Children's Hospital. Your health deserves a partner.
Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the midday WYLN News update, posted between noon and 2 p.m. Powered by Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazelton, the all-new emergency room at Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazelton is nearly double the size. Our updated facility features all private rooms, the latest technology, and a quicker, easier check-in process. Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazelton, your partner in ER care.
Penn State Hazelton is improving the lives of others, starting in our community.
Providing degrees that meet the needs of the area.
Fueling entrepreneurship and contributing more than $36 million annually to the state's economy.
Researching the health of our local ecosystem on the Susquehanna River.
Together, our impact keeps growing, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
you know that WYLN News provides news updates every weekday afternoon
at 1, 3, and 5 here on TV and on social media?
Did you also know you can watch WYLN News on the go by visiting our website or YouTube page?
Now more than ever,
WYLN is your local news leader.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
Welcome to Trooper Talk Tuesday, and joining me is Trooper Anthony Petrosky from the Pennsylvania State Police Barracks, Troop in Hazelton. Oh, Trooper Petrosky, we had a storm not too long ago, and it was foggy, and it was rainy, and I was going to call my eye doctor and say, I think I need new eyes, because it was awful. Driving at night is so difficult. Now we have these vehicles with supersonic headlights.
Right.
Have you seen those?
Oh, I have, yes.
Wow, talk about candlelight.
Right.
So what do? You come up, it's a bad night like that, you come up on somebody like that. As a driver, what do you do?
So these lights can be distracting, but you know, if they're being produced by car dealers, then they're legal. It's just the technology's evolving, the lights are changing. You know, one thing to realize is if you feel yourself being distracted by another vehicle or the lights are bothering you, just slow your vehicle down a little bit until they ultimately pass you, and then your eyes can, you know, readjust back to the nighttime. But you know, driving at night could be it could be different, especially for people who don't drive a lot at night. A lot of times people work set hours. They're not out at night. When they're done with work, they go home. So, you know, you have to, what I always say is be prepared, take a little bit extra time, right? Snowstorms, rainstorms, bad weather, construction season, and you know, anytime you drive in an area or during a time of the day that you don't normally drive, leave a little bit earlier, because this way you could take your time. Again, these lights might be distracting. Somebody might be driving around with their high beams on, which maybe they don't know that they're on.
So what do we do? What do we do with that? Are we allowed, as the driver who's coming up to them, are we allowed to flash our lights and say, eh?
Well, here's the thing about that. That's kind of like an unwritten code. Right? There's nothing that says, if I flash my high beams at you, that means your high beams are on. They may not even realize that their high beams are on, and they may think, well, what is that car flashing their high beams at me? And this ultimately can turn into one of those road rage incidents. You know, where people think, well, why would they flash their high beams at me? Next thing you know, they're spinning around and they're driving behind you now. So, you know, it's one of those things where, hey, if they're going to pass you, hopefully somebody could tell them maybe at a red light, or a police officer can pull them over and say, hey, sir, just so you know your high beams are on, you might want to turn them off. Sometimes these newer vehicles, they automatically kick on. And they take a few seconds to kick off. So it might just be one of those situations. Unfortunately, people do drive around with them on, not knowing that they're on. Honest mistake. But again, as a driver, we need to be aware of that, because that could be very distracting to somebody else when we're coming towards them.
And the same when they're behind you.
Yes, you can't have that either, because when those high beams, when that light hits that rearview mirror and it bounces off that and hits you in the eyes, again, that could be distracting too. So we need to, as much as we need to focus on our driving, we need to be able to look out for the other drivers too. So this way we can all get where we're going safe.
And you were mentioning all of the different conditions. Fog is the worst.
It is. And the thing about fog is you could be driving one, especially on 81, it could be perfectly fine, and next thing you know, you're in the middle of fog and you can't see. So the best thing to do is regardless of what time of day it is, put your headlights on. Okay. Now in Pennsylvania, anytime your windshield wipers are on, your headlights must be on. That's a law.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. What
that.
did you say?
That is a law.
What?
If your headlights are on, if your windshield wipers are on, your headlights must be on. It's required by law. And why? See and be seen. So if you're going through fog, number one, make sure your headlights are on. Number two, put your four-way flashers on. Put your emergency flashers on. This way it lets cars approaching behind you know something's going on. Maybe you dropped below the posted speed limit, so you put those four-way flashers on. It lets people behind you know something's going on. You might want to slow down a little bit.
See, and now you just said something that made me sink a little bit, because you said that when your windshield wipers are on, your light should be on.
Yes.
And sometimes, and I'll see if no one recognizes me, I do that to people, and I flash my lights, and I want to say to them, you should have because I can't see them.
Correct. It's all about seeing, but you also want to be seen.
Right.
So, I'm glad they changed that law a few years back. I think it's important, because if it's raining that bad or if it's snowing that bad, the conditions aren't good. So why not just put your headlights on?
It's
simple.
I always say, the next time that you buy a car, make sure it comes with the extended headlight package,
right,
where you can turn them on and you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah, imagine that.
Because it's just, really, when you come up on somebody, and then, especially if you're following someone,
right,
and then you have to put your brakes on quickly, and you get this look in your rearview mirror like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
Well, you don't have your lights on.
And especially during these foggy situations, it's difficult to see cars in front of you.
Yeah.
So now you might be approaching, their headlights aren't on, you can't see the rear tail lights.
Yep.
So again, to make everybody's driving experience better and safer, follow these rules. It's very simple.
Yeah, I would think it would be very simple, so I better not do that anymore, because now I'm a little nervous. I might be calling you and be in kind of trouble. And as far as also people who drive at night and they don't have their lights on, that's another...
Sure it is, and that's a huge problem. And I've pulled many people over when they didn't have their headlights on at night, and a lot of them didn't realize they thought it came on automatically.
Exactly.
Again, before you put the car into drive, check it. If it's dark out, if you know it's going to be dark, turn the headlights on, make sure they work. That's another thing. People rarely check their headlights to make sure that they both work.
You're right.
Right? So check this stuff out every now and then. Make sure that they're turned on. If not, it's a simple fix.
And wasn't that a game? You're probably too young to
you.
remember that
I appreciate
either,
that compliment.
but I kind of remember that game where one eye, and because you come upon a car with only one headlight.
Oh, okay.
Okay, he's humoring me now. But it's always a pleasure to talk to Trooper Anthony Petrosky, Troop in Hazelton, every Tuesday here on Trooper Talk Tuesday. That was Punch Buggy.
Oh, is that what it was?
TJ's Chimney Service Professional and Complete Chimney Service cleans, rebuilds stainless steel liners, custom concrete poured chimney crowns, fully licensed and insured, all work guaranteed. Roofing services also available. Call 570-861-0027.
Membership opportunities are now available at the Valley Country Club, 79 Country Club Lane in Sugarloaf. Clubhouse upgrades are in progress and will be ready for the spring. Call Frank Radis for details at 570-233-5328.
Join us later for Let's Talk Chiropractic, where we talk about how treating Chris led to the discovery of what's going on with his wife and led to the incredible recovery we've been seeing for the last few weeks. Join us later.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department, only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced, courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazelton.
Wyln CA35's children's programming is designed with the specific purpose of serving the educational and informational needs of children. In compliance with FCC guidelines, a copy of the children's programming report is on file for public inspection at 647 State Route 93, Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania 18249 during regular business hours. To view the report online, visit fcc.org.
Wyln's going behind the scenes to learn more about the lives and goals of our local leaders. So, Eileen Perchak's leading the way again into part 2 of this week's series.
And welcome back to this week's Leading the Way with Eileen Perchak from SAFE. So, can you tell us about, I know we discussed, that's kind of how you led yourself to understanding and wanting to learn more about autism and getting involved. What led to the foundation, the organization leading into SAFE?
Well, I was looking for friends for my son, essentially is how it happened. Once Michael was diagnosed and we got all the services that we needed, speech, occupational, all of those, the big thing that was missing in his life was a friend. So I went looking for a support group, a social group for both myself and my son, and I found SAFE, and that was 17, 18 years ago. So I became very active with SAFE. I volunteered, and I just became passionate about it because I met people there that were, going through the same struggles as I was. Our own Pat Gans from Wyln, she was a constant source of, comfort for me because, her son too. So I became involved that way. And after years of volunteering, the executive director had some health issues and needed to step down. And the board asked me to step in and take the executive director position. And that was, 6, 7 years ago. I don't even remember how long at this point. And it's just become a passion for me because I've gotten to see children that were my son's age now progress through, and I've seen it grow, and I've seen these kids make friends and maintain friendships. And so it still is my passion, and I love it.
All right, folks, check back tomorrow as Eileen continues leading the way into part 3 of this week's segment. Have a good night.
And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page, YouTube page, or at WYLNTV.com. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.
watching WYLN TV 35.
On this episode of Off the Beaten Path, we head to the vault for a couple of great ideas to get you out of the house and into the fresh air. Plus, a return to Heisler's Cloverleaf Dairy to see what they have in store for the summer. It's all coming up right now on Off the Beaten Path.